thinks it should be working. All right, everyone, welcome to this first, or maybe not the first, but my live stream. I see everything set up and you can see me, you can hear me, and I'm excited. So, first of all, everyone who's joining, this is the live stream where I talk all about how I got to 1,000 subscribers, a bit of Q&A, a bit of the questions that you guys have, questions for me. Feel free to write in the chat and write there live, then I can let you guys know what the answers are. I've even prepared some little branding things like, for example, let me just show something like this, where I get to have a little thing to show that, hey, I'm on this journey and this is the 1 to 1,000 subscriber journey. And then the text appears and it goes away again. That's pretty cool. So I am currently live, and if you want to join, this is your chance. So let's see if there's any questions. I can see none at the moment, but maybe over the period of this hour, I'm assuming it'll be around an hour, there might be a few. Let me just pull up, first of all, I will check here because in the community post that I did, there was a question by Ben, by my friend Ben, and I'll just pull that one up to start out with. So Ben asks, so his question is, how do you work to find time for God in such a busy life with YouTube, work, home, church, and I'm sure lots of other things? Very much on topic for the video that for me in my small realm of existing on YouTube went relatively viral. I'd say it's got around 30,000 views. I think for me it's all about time boxing and setting priorities. So I talk about the highlight, try to make one highlight a day, stick it on some of these, these kind of post-it notes kind of things. Just write down what I'm looking forward to, what I want to make time for. And that's the one thing that I then focus on. Like today, it's this live stream, and I've been preparing a few things, a few questions as well, just in case to just chat about these things with you guys. So making time, I think just cutting out all the stuff that doesn't matter, and in my case, also putting blockers on my phone or my laptop. And yeah, like they're really helpful ones. Like there's one called Freedom. Freedom's a really good one. So if you want to look at that one, I can post a link in the chat if I find it. It's called freedom.to. And on here, you can then select the devices you want to block, select the stuff that you want blocked, like a whole block list of different apps, a whole block list of different websites. And with that stuff, you can, yeah, you can go do it really well. You can find time for what really matters. And in my case, that is time for these YouTube videos. And maybe I should start a bit further to the start, in the beginning, because this question might be relevant for people who are coming in here. The question would be, why did I start the YouTube channel? And for me, it's pretty clear that I was doing my thing in 2023, then I changed jobs. In 2023, I went from a software development job at Capgemini, which is a big consulting, and went to a place where, yeah, there was the smaller team is called Bergfreunde, Mountain Friends, and they were just quite chill, quite cool. But I had a month in between that I just had a lot of holidays and time off, and yeah, so I was like, yeah, that's something that I really want to do. I want to make time for my hobbies, which were YouTube, which were at the time mostly making like short little intro videos. One was like a spring walk kind of thing, and I wanted to make more time to spend time with God, like make it about God, make it about Jesus. And that was really powerful, really, really cool. And that was the beginning. So that's the start of my YouTube channel, and it's been really quite a actually long journey, and I think we'll get into that. But I see that Natalie's joined, and that's really cool. I think I can even show your question. Natalie, thank you so much. It says here you ask, how did you know what God was calling you to do? I think that's a really profound question. And for me, it was at the moment, at the time, I was doing a lot of prayer. I was just trying out different things. I remember back in 2017, so this is way back when I was a teenager, just in my 18, 19-year-old, I went to Australia and I was like, oh, okay, I want to document it. I'll make YouTube videos. And they're still up there. So if you want to look at those, sort by oldest by the videos, and you'll see what how I started out. But God really showed me that He wanted to combine these two things, and He wanted me to combine my passion for YouTube, for video, for audio, for also just taking photos. That was something that I really did a lot, also on my Instagram, and combine that with His faith, because I felt a bit at the time. I was like, like I do like um, being a Christian, being reading in God's word, but it wasn't like, yay, I'm so excited to do this. And I think what happened, which was really amazing, is that God kind of showed me that there's a way to combine both these things, turn it into a preaching opportunity. And that's when I was like, hey, I'll just give YouTube a go. And you might know this YouTuber called Ali Abdal. He then has this PTYA, it's called Part Time YouTube Academy. Uh, and I was just like, okay, I want to try this. It was €1,000, and I was like, that is so much money, or dollars, or whatever your currency is. That was so much money. We didn't have it at the time. I was like, okay, God, help me in this decision that if you want me to do this YouTube, and if you want me to do this as a preaching opportunity, then please give me an answer. And the answer that I was praying for is that if it's possible that I can get the, I can't think of the word now. Basically, that you can get a free pass. You send in your video, and I sent in a video to the Ali Abdal team, and they would then review it and say yes or no. We accept you for free. In this case, they had a few of these free passes that they could give out, and for some reason, and I think it's God's intervention, He was like, "Yeah, you'll get it." And so I got this free um, course that was worth €1,000, and I was like, "Okay, God really wants me to do this." And this is July 23, August 23, and I'm like, okay, this now I'm going to go all in. And as part of that, God said, as part of that course, you have to, or you should do one video a week for 2 years. And that was July, I'd say May, July, when I started with doing a video a week. And I've almost been able to do that for the past 2 years. Like it's now April, it's not even 2 years in. And there's one video that's the other week, 2 weeks ago, that most of you are listening or watching will have come from, is all about Jesus' time management secrets. And hey, you guys resonated with it. So that's been the first one that reached more than 1,000 views. That just kind of skyrocketed the channel. Like that's how I then managed to reach not 1,000, but now even 2,000 subscribers. But at the end of the day, those are just metrics, right? It has to be in your heart, something that you're really passionate about, something where you're like, okay, yeah, I'm super keen. I really want to do this. And God can help you with that. And I think at the time I also started journaling. So I've got this journal. It's called Day One. And I don't know if you know about this, but let me just find a link and I can also chuck it in here. Because I also just was like, okay, I need to start journaling. I really need to make the most of my time and also just reflect on what's going on every day. So that's when I started with Day One. And I actually have a prayer journal in there where I try to write now and then. Don't do it every day, but it's like just writing down a few prayers. And yeah, so that has really helped me to find clarity, to find where I want to go and the direction as well. I've been super blessed because normally people see maybe some form of success 3, 4, 5 years earliest into their journey. I knew that this was the right thing because every time I pressed upload, every time I recorded, even though this is terrifying sometimes, just talking to a laptop or talking to a camera that's just behind here, it was just so much fun. It was just, the whole process was awesome. So I got to enjoy it so much that I was like, hey, yeah, I'm willing to do this once a week. So yeah, Natalie, you seem to be the fan here. So you asked, that's amazing. You get to do something you're passionate about while bringing him glory. Yes, that is absolutely amazing. So I mean, I can just bring that on here so that everyone here can also see. It's absolutely amazing that God has made it possible to combine these two things. And I realized that ever since I've started YouTube and these past few weeks as well, it's been really, really hard to feel that kind of passion and motivation in work because my work is I'm a software developer and we work on coding the website, which to be very honest, like it's fun sometimes, but it's also a lot of like, hey, we have to fix this bug or this is some kind of test that we have to do. And you always, or I always catch myself thinking, oh, but I could be making a video that could reach hundreds of thousands of people, that can change their lives, that can get them to open the Bible. And then your motivation is like, I really, really want to make this all about God. I want to make this all about Jesus. And I want to dedicate my life to it more time than I currently can. And so ever since this one video has gone a bit crazy, it's like, how can I make more time for that? How can I make my videos maybe even better? And that's when the idea also came, hey, I want to do a podcast. So this is the journey where I'm like, okay, I want to have these kind of conversations, raw and honest, unedited, with people who have gone through rough times. And you might even see, I don't know if you see in the stream, but there's the Icon Valley to Victory. That's my podcast. Icon logo, and the first one will be launching on Sunday evening at 8. And every 2 weeks, I'll have guests on through this tool called Riverside, and we'll be chatting about their struggles and what they go through. And I've had people on that were teachers, some episodes that I recorded where people have been on like they host their own podcast. There's the one where they talk about, it's called Good Christadelphian Talks, where they talk about talks and they just talk about the process of hosting a podcast themselves. And who knows, maybe there's a few more Christian creators out there. If you're one of them, feel free to reach out to me. My email's always in my description or on my channel. So I'm always looking for people who want to have a conversation, who want to talk about their valleys, their low points, and how they get to the victory, which is what we all aim for, the kingdom of God that will be very soon with his son Jesus. So that's a very long explanation for your question, Natalie. I hope that's helped. If you have anything else, feel free to pop it in the chat. Otherwise, if I jump back to my questions that I wrote down. So we talked about the beginning, we talked about why I started, why I'm here on this channel, what am I even doing here, uh, why are you even watching the stream. I think there's been a few challenges balancing like the whole YouTube side of things time wise, and also with my commitment and dedication. And there's been a few hard times, and I think those were especially this year. So starting out this year, I'm like, okay, I'm a year and a half in. I'm seeing pretty much no growth, no interactions, no comments, and it was a rough patch because you put in a lot of effort. Or at least I spent like 5 to 10 hours every week editing, making the video and stuff, and nothing was showing. And I remember it was the week of where the Jesus Time Management Secrets came out on the Sunday. On the Monday, I was like super frustrated. It's like, man, God, I need answers. Please really help me. I want to throw in the towel. I want to give up. And I went out for a walk. It was raining in the forest. And I was just not being too nice. I feel like I was ranting at God, even though He did nothing wrong. He was just preparing me for it. And that was a super vulnerable time where I was like, I really want to make this work. Please show me some kind of way, some kind of confirmation that there are people out there who would be willing to listen, people out there who would be willing to join. And yeah, He made it possible. That was 2 days later. Then the views started climbing, the comments started climbing. I started this thing called Calendly, where you can then interact with people. Like, you can, even if you click on the link below, you can then book a call with me and have a chat. And I had so many good calls in those 2 3 weeks, 2 weeks since, just talking to people, helping them, hearing their situations, hearing what they're going through. And all of this helped me to hone in the craft and understand who it is I'm talking to, who it is I'm addressing. Because while you have no data, especially in the beginning phases, I was just making videos that I kind of like enjoyed, kind of like thought that might be interesting. But then to go and analyze and go into YouTube and, yeah, really go down the rabbit hole there of trying to understand what it is God wants, um, that has really helped me. So that's, yeah, that's been my journey so far. And especially the one-on-one calls with you, with all the audience, has been super helpful. So I still have those on, if any of you are interested. And yeah, happy to do these live streams more often, just because why not? Like, it's it, it's included in the tool that I use. I have to get used to talking to a camera anyway, and it seems like some of you are listening in, which is great. So I just see another fantastic verse from Galatians that Natalie brought up, and she writes here, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Such a fantastic verse that fits really nicely. And yeah, sometimes the best thing we can do, I think, is to just get to a point where we've tried option A, B, C, D, E, F, and God's like, why didn't you include me from the beginning? Like, why do you have to try all these human options first before God is like the XYZ section? Yeah. And we really want to get God towards the beginning. So actually there's a podcast where another guy also called Chris, he talks about the fact that, hey, maybe God is not XYZ anymore. He's in the LMNOP section. So further towards the beginning in the alphabet, if you're looking at that analogy. But it's super powerful to just have those, yeah, that understanding that God is there and He's for you, and what He wants is for you to give up everything, like just let Him do His thing, and not just rely on our own human mind, our own human, yeah, our own human ways of thinking that often lead us to nothing. So I think I learned the hard way, also the long way, and there's also another fantastic verse. Um, I can't remember where it is, but it's along the lines of good things. Basically, that if you have patience, that's something that God really likes, and that, like, the story where Saul's like waiting for the prophet, and he just gets impatient. It's like if he only waited that little bit longer, then he would have, yeah, been rewarded from God. And patience is such a hard thing, but while we on this journey towards the kingdom, I think, at least for me and hopefully for you as well, when you're listening to this, this has really, really helped and made a huge impact. So that's that on these questions. I don't see anything else in the chat right now. Maybe just on a tangent, talking about Bible verses that have helped. My wife's written this note that I have on my laptop, and it's Proverbs 16:3, which says, "Commit your actions to the Lord, and your plans will succeed." And I think that fits really nicely with the verse that Natalie has then put on screen or in the chat as well, where we have to just keep going. If we give everything to God, then He will help us succeed. And I'm not saying that I will obviously always be doing this. I think this is a stepping stone to making God more about my life, more about God and less about me. But I really got to a point where I was like, hey, I don't really like everything in this channel should be to God's glory and to Jesus' glory. And what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to be a mediator and have enough to maybe a little bit of then some sort of income then to then fade out the other stuff that is not as meaningful as this. That would be absolutely fantastic. I think what helped me, and I wrote myself another question here, which is all about how do you stay motivated in your faith journey? Like, how do I stay motivated while going through these hard times the last few years, since July 23? And I think one of the things was that I had set a plan to upload every week, and I knew that the videos weren't good in the beginning. They're all still there, but I just said to myself, every week, one video, and you'll get better. And I try to get 1% better every week. So that's what I tried, and also just taking time to analyze thumbnails, analyze titles, analyze what's working on YouTube, but also what's kind of like going on in the world. But for me, it also meant that I was then also willing to say, okay, no, I don't want to do reaction kind of content because I just don't feel that's authentic. That's not building a real relationship with the audience. So some kind of things that are trending, I was like, okay, maybe that's not quite right. Actually, my wife pointed out to me, she said, Bron said, oh, when you're reacting to these famous people, that's just not you. You don't seem yourself. I'm like, oh, okay, that's really powerful. And since then, I haven't really done that stuff. And I think it's good when other people can help you on that journey. And I've found that community has really, really helped me. So as part of the part-time YouTuber Academy, I've also been able to have a group of people, a community there who have helped me so much. Like just monthly calls, a WhatsApp community where people like write and say, hey, this is my video, and also just interacting with people in the chats and celebrating people's wins. Yeah, then I could post my win and people were super stoked and excited for me as well. So I think if you have some kind of form where people get to, yeah, just see you and interact with you and have that accountability, that is really, really powerful. And the thing is, as people on YouTube, people who are creators, like if you ask any 5-year-old, probably they'll say, hey, I want to be a YouTuber one day. But the fact that in reality, not many people do this because it's absolutely irrational to create, invest time, and do that for months, for weeks, for years, and see no results, only to then hopefully one day then find some kind of success. But at the end of the day, as I say, this is not about the numbers. This is not about me. It's I'm just trying to say what God has said in His Word and relay that to any of you who are listening in and watching. All right. I have this one. I quite like this question. I'll just paste it in here, send it, and then I think you should be able to see it if I post it on the screen. So I've asked myself, many people talk about the misconceptions about being a Christian creator. Like, what do people think your life's like? And I think the first one is that people think you're different. Yeah, let's be honest, like, I'm just a regular dude. I just found this to be what God has called me to do. And misconceptions, especially about, yeah, just being different. Like, people like, oh, you do this YouTube thing. In the beginning, many think, oh, you have this huge influence and so many people are watching, listening to you. But in your immediate family, in your immediate surroundings, like in my church, some of them know and some are like, yeah, that's cool. But most people just say, hey, cool, you got a YouTube channel. And then they just move on. And that's something that I wasn't expecting in the beginning. Many people think, oh yeah, you have this huge effect on the world. And maybe that possibly may change, but not at the moment. And that's totally fine. Like, I don't have to be some famous person. Definitely not. Yeah, one of the other things is that people don't really think it's a lot of effort. They say, oh yeah, content creation is easy. You just do your thing and thousands of people watch you. But it really is a grind. It really is hard. Um, it's a very high bar that YouTube is setting with 1,000 subscribers. And I think the watch hours are even harder. Like, if you know the rules, like 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours, then you can put some ads on your video. But the fact that that is so hard, so high, means that most people give up. And I think that's totally fine. People have to decide what they're willing to invest lots of time in, because it's one of those growths. Yeah, you go slow, 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 and suddenly it picks up. But it's a lot of time that you invest, and again, bringing it back to God, because I've been in an opportunity where after my full-time work, I can come home. My wife's still studying, so we have time, and I have time to do this kind of stuff. I have time to prepare script videos. I have time to do all the things that are needed for making these videos. So that's something where many think, oh, yeah, it's easy to be a Christian creator. You just talk about your Bible, open it up, and talk to the world, and thousands start following. But that's definitely not the case. It's very much a slow growth, but it's so worthwhile. And I've really enjoyed every minute of it. Obviously, the highs have been amazing, especially finding so many comments by people who are like, "Hey, yeah, I'm here, and what you're doing is awesome, and thank you so much." It's so much easier getting feedback. Also, if it's like, "Oh, I don't agree," and then you can have people talk to each other and build a relationship of that. But I think for me, I feel like there's people out there who are willing, who are ready to read this, ready to watch this, ready to interact. And for them, I want to be a platform where people can go from a state where they're lukewarm to on fire for God. Because that's my whole motto, that's my whole goal. Because that's what this life is really about. Like, we are mortals. Yes, we will die, but we have this future, and the plan of it is all in the Bible. And so that's what I try to talk about as well. All right. I think we're looking good. Any more questions? Let me check. And for anyone who's coming in at a later time, there's been a few in the chat. You should be able to see that in the live replay. This is just a quick Q&A where we talk about how the channel's been the last almost 2 years that I've been growing this, and just trying out a live stream, chatting to you all in real time, which is pretty crazy. Okay, so I have one more I think that might be relevant for you all. Let me just see if I can send this in and then I can display it. So, what are some misconceptions? No, that's not the one. Hang on. This one. What's a typical day like for you in terms of faith and productivity? I think that's a relevant one because we were talking about the video that many people watched, which was all about Jesus' time management secrets. And I think the most important thing when we're talking about productivity is that it's not something that has to be super complex and rigid and this is the only way to structure your day. No, I think every day is different and that's okay. And if you get up and you don't feel like doing lots of stuff that you don't have to do, then that's also a day where you can kind of write off. Like, I'm not too strict about that. I have these things that I do in the mornings. It's called the Savers, which is like an acronym for silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and then scripting, which is writing. And I have been more or less dedicated to these. I must say, I don't always go through all the steps. Like sometimes I skip the affirmations or the visualization part. Sometimes I move the exercise, the longer exercise, to the evenings. But as a rule of thumb, it's really powerful to have a few short habits in the morning, and they've really crafted my mornings to be a time where I get to reflect, get to physically move, get to read, and also think about where my goals are. What are my affirmations? Where do I want to be? What's my goal? What am I envisioning? And part of this was also then, the growth of this channel. What I would love God to make, to help me reach more people, to connect with you all as well, and build this community. And that's my mornings. Now I've started doing something called the Daily Highlight. I've just showed you these pieces of paper. Basically, it's from a book called Make Time, where they talk about that if you just make one thing your goal, like just one task or one job that you have to do, whatever it is, like if you say clean the house, or if it's go for a run, or if it's make time to meet your friend for coffee, or it's finish the PowerPoint presentation for work. Any of these things can be your highlights. If you write them on a piece of paper and then commit to them, put it in a time block it in your calendar, you will feel really good when you make time for it, and stick to that, whatever, how long it takes, maybe an hour, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. And then you have achieved one really good thing that has not overloaded your to-do calendar, to-do list, but you have one thing, and if you do that, then you feel good. And that's really helped me as well. Like, I used to get really bogged down, really annoyed at the fact that I don't remember anything that I've done today. Like, there have been those days, and that can really get you down. And so if it's just one single thing that I get to do, that's amazing. That's perfect. So those are the two things, like a morning routine that works for you, and just doing a highlight throughout the day, that I would say I would recommend everyone to try. That's really, really powerful. And then as part of the readings in the morning, I do a Bible reading. So I read, currently I'm in Exodus. And the cool thing that I've started is having a notebook. Actually, I can show you. It's my Bible here. And I've got this, sorry. It's actually really cool. It's like a fake leather one. But you see in here, like, just want to make it real. And I'm not lying. These are all notes that I take, which is where I just put the date and then write about what's going on. And yeah, these are really cool. Like, these have really helped me. They just sometimes summarize parts of the chapters, but mostly make it practical. I want to think of only one thing that I can take away from a chapter. And currently I'm in, what is it, Exodus 23. I'm like, oh, Exodus, all the laws, like, how is that in any way relevant? But yeah, here today talking about that the Israelites said that they would obey God, and in this case, talking directly to Moses, then he goes to the mountains for 40 days and comes back to people who didn't obey. Like, wow, that's us. Like, we forget. So that was something that I found was really practical. Like, how can we still obey what God says to us even today? So yeah, that's the morning reading, and then the evening we try to do a reading with Brian, my wife, and that sometimes doesn't work out as well when we've got other days, other plans, and yeah, I think that's something that I really need to work on and make more time, especially the reading together. That's really, really powerful. So those are things that I'd say a typical day would look like. I'd start with the savers, I'd get them going, write my highlight, just normal work, and then after my highlight would be something to do with YouTube, so scripting or filming. I always batch film, which means that I group different videos into one session, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And in the evenings I also try to do, yeah, just have some time to read. Just normal book reading is so powerful, and over the past few months I've got back into reading, which is something that I never thought I would say, but yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, I'm seeing that at the moment all is good. We've had a good long chat. I mean, it's been over 30 minutes. So anyone who's watching this again and who's interested in having another live chat, live stream, I'm happy to announce it a bit further in advance if that's something that you'd like to do as well, and join in, and then we like to, hey, just ask your questions. Um, Write it in the chat here. Like, let me know in the comments if you think this is cool, if you have a preference for date. I think Friday evening, not always, could work in future. Happy to move it around to different times. But just to have an opportunity for you guys to reach out to me, whatever you want to ask, I'll answer to my best of my knowledge. And then let's end this with just a few more words on relationship with Christ, because I think for anyone of any age, it's so important to build this relationship with Jesus. Like, we know we have to pray to God, our Father, but Jesus is still there. He's there, and he can help us through our struggles because he's been through it. And just having that open conversation has really, really helped me. Um, yeah, thank you so much for everyone who's been around, who's stuck around, who's asked. Thank you, Natalie, for your questions. They've been really interesting and really helpful for me as well. And if you want to join for one of the podcast interviews, I'm happy to reach out to you. Just let me know in a comment, let me know in an email. I will do my best to get back to you. So thank you so much. All the best. God bless. And we will speak very soon. Bye.